Today is February 15th, 2015, and yesterday I made some video clips about Mike Tanzer and the first and second time that he raped me. And today I'm going to describe, today I'll just go ahead and try to wrap up what else happened with that relationship, which really wasn't a relationship. And he called me after the second time that I was raped. I felt pretty bad about it. I felt really bad about everything. And I kept thinking about the drink and wondering about those bartenders that had been at that bar. And I actually called police. And I didn't report those bartenders, but I called police and a couple of other places asking questions about date rape drugs. And I also went online and I started looking things up to see if anything matched what effect it had on me. And the main thing that I found could have matched was like some kind of a rape knockout drug, or maybe ecstasy or something. And one thing that I do know for sure is I'm 100% positive that it had the same effect as a drug that I was given by U.S. government officials when I was a preteen. And when they had given me this drug as a preteen or really young teen, it wasn't through anything I drank. I was standing in a hall in a hotel, and I don't really remember why we were there because we traveled and went different places a lot, but they came up to me with an injection. Someone came up to me and just shot me in the arm. And within a few minutes, I was basically staggering kind of along the hall, and I remember leaning up against the wall and feeling like my legs couldn't support me, which is the same way that I felt when I was trying to walk with Mike Tanzer after being at that club. And then the other effect that it had on me was that I felt really like sexual and sort of like love all people, but also extremely sexual. It was like I got shot up with like a massive amount of testosterone or something, but wasn't really thinking clearly either at the same time. So it was kind of a weird combination of not being able to stand on my feet and wanting to slide down the wall and slump onto the ground, and feeling extremely sexual when I wasn't feeling naturally that way at all, and then kind of out of it. And how it wore off was I blacked out when finally this effect wore off or whatever. But what they did to me was really horrible, because I got injected with this drug, whatever it was, and they didn't tell me what it was. But it was kind of like one of these CIA stunts where, you know, they're injecting people with like acid and LSD and then just seeing what the effects are. Well, they did that to me. And then they put me in a room with my dad, and feeling that way with my dad. And then they had some other men there, and it was just basically to humiliate me in front of these men. So what I remember is that Joyce Sterling was there. So I don't know that she was the person, she was someone who injected me in the shoulder, but I believe Melinda Gates was one of the individuals that had been there, and the Bechtolds. Janet wasn't right there, but I think George had been in the proximity. And from what I remember, Joyce Sterling, and that was, I think, she was standing next to maybe Melinda. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly where Joy was, if Joy was there, but I think she was there. And the other person that I remember was a blonde, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure it was Valerie Plame. And the reason I would say Valerie Plame is because she was blonde and kind of looked like Valerie Plame. And at that time in my life, we were actually getting together with the Plames a lot. And we went on a rock climbing trip. We went to some place where we stayed at a hotel with them. I saw her one time, I believe, at an embassy. And another place that I saw Plame at was in London. And I had been trafficked to London at one point, and it was in London, England, where Valerie Plame approached me. I was introduced to her by her name and told what she did for a living. And she was going to this London, like, kind of school, college for some kind of training at the time. And she asked me at that time if I would be interested in working for the CIA, which wasn't, maybe it sounds like a big deal, but don't be flattered, okay, if somebody from the CIA asks you to work for them, because it's kind of like someone asking you if you want to put your head into a noose. Unless, you know, someone thinks they're giving you, like, unless someone is getting a lot of money out of it and it's fairly low risk, the CIA and all of those agencies will screw you over and ruin your life if you at any point decide you don't want to do what you said you'd do. So I was interested in the CIA because, you know, as a kid, there are lots of kids, of course, just like I was, thinking, you know, spies were kind of cool, or, you know, sneaking around was fun, and that kind of thing. And that's the kind of idea you associated with them sometimes. But her proposition to me, which I believe is another reason why I continue to be defamed in this country and targeted and called mentally ill, is their position was to ask me, well, they said that she was a munitions person, that she dealt with weapons, and she described it as studying the proliferation of weapons. So basically, she made it sound like it was an analytical position that she had, where she studied how countries and how many nuclear weapons and different other kinds of weapons they had. And she asked me if I would like to be trained, I guess by her, to do that kind of work as well. And the way that she talked to me, she kind of talked to me like I was just a kid. And I wasn't just a kid, because I think that I was more mature than she gave me credit for, and she still had this idea that when she was talking to preteens or a teen, that they weren't, I mean, obviously if she was offering that position or talking to me about it, she didn't think I was just a kid. However, I felt she was kind of condescending and mocking me, and when I asked her questions, she didn't expect me to already have some kind of an education and be able to throw something back at her about how I knew what it was, and to be able to articulate definitions of different kinds of work and positions with the CIA. So instead of feeling like, you know, she was talking to another adult, I think she felt defensive, because she wanted to be the adult and the mentor, and didn't want some kid acting like maybe they knew as much as she did, which, you know, of course I didn't, but anyway. So but I told her no. I told her no, I wouldn't. I said, why would I want to be trained by you in that kind of work when there are other things that I could do. Well, anyway, all of that just to say that my first named contact with Valerie Plame was in England, and I think that she also had contact with Kate Middleton and the Middletons at the time, but even though she was a lot younger. And I know that Mike knew who she was. Mike Middleton did. So, you know, in this whole context of talking to people who are CIA and worked in other various government positions, I had gotten injected with some kind of a drug that was really heavy and really bad. And when I had this drink, I only had a couple of sips from this glass, and I was feeling the same way as I had felt when I had been injected with that drug as a teen. And it kind of felt like a little bit of a combination between some kind of a like ecstasy type of a stimulant and possibly some kind of a knockout drug because of how I couldn't really support myself on my feet anymore. And then the other effect that it kind of had was almost truth-telling. And I don't know if they can mix all that stuff together, but I had also been given truth-telling drugs before in my life. And those are really strong knockout drugs, and those can also make you feel unstable on your feet and more talkative than you would normally be, and giving more disclosure about things than you would normally give. And because I had experienced truth-telling drugs, I can say for sure that it also had that kind of effect. So truth-telling drugs are not going to make you like hypersexual or anything like that, but it was kind of like a combination of two different things. So I really don't know what I got in that drink, but it was really bad. So anyway, after that whole thing happened, I felt really bad about everything. And by the second time that he'd raped me, I really thought, I guess there's no turning back. Like, I know it sounds weird, but I kind of thought, I guess that, I mean, basically they were breaking me down. It's like what they do with people that I think I've heard they want to go into prostitution or different things. They'll rape someone repeatedly over and over and try to break them down so that they don't fight being raped anymore, and that they don't value their bodies or their minds or have the same defenses that makes them more vulnerable. And that's kind of how I felt. I felt like I was being broken down by all these government assholes who came over to me, stalked me, and raped me. By the time Mike raped me a second time, I felt that I had to stay with him. You know, that I might have to just try to make some kind of a relationship work with him. And because I liked his personality, even though I disagreed with everything he did. I thought, well, he committed these, I didn't think of it as he committed these crimes against me, but I knew that he had committed these crimes. But despite all of that, because the government had raped me so many times when I was a kid, and because it was all happening to me again, I just thought, I thought I was maybe going to have to bond to him, maybe be like his girlfriend, and maybe I would end up one day possibly getting married to him. I mean, I thought, well, because my whole thing was, I didn't want to have sex with him until I was married. And so when he did that to me, I thought, well, okay, now that's happened, so maybe I'll end up marrying him.